Hello, good morning, welcome back to the Home Renovation Expert. Steve here again on the composite decking. So if you haven't been following, the joists are now all in and fit. If you want to see how I've done that, there's like 3 or 4 videos showing how I got the sub base in, how I prepared all that, how I got the sort of joists in, how I'm doing all those bits and pieces, cutting it, spacing it out and all that kind of jazz. Today is leveling day. So what I've done is I've started to get a few bits and pieces in, just kind of give you a start. So, a couple of things about leveling decking. One, I want the length across there, I want that as spot level as possible, okay? So as you're on the deck in that direction, it's absolutely beautiful. But what you also want is you do want a little bit of a raise at one end in the shortest length, okay? So basically, this end here, nearest the grass, is gonna be a touch higher than the bit at the back. Now the reason you do that is for rainfall. So when it's pilling down with rain, the rain doesn't just sit on the surface, it actually runs off. And yes, you even do that with composite. I mean, it's even more vital for like wood because you don't want the water to be sat on top. But the same thing applies to this stuff, even though it's non-slip and all that kind of jazz. If you've got a heavy thunderstorm or whatever, you want the water to get off it quickly so that it doesn't just sit and pool on there. So just put a very slight slant. I think it's approximately, is it 4 mil for every foot, give or take. So you just do that. You won't ever feel it, you won't ever see it, but when it's pilling it down with rain or just normal rain, it will then just run off and go between the next joist and the next decking board and just fall off. That's what you're supposed to do. That's how you're professionally supposed to fit it. So what I've done is, I know that the back plate is obviously level because that was the first one that went on. That's what all these ones have then run off of. The thing you're dealing with a floating deck is the fact that even though I've done this prep work and I've got all the noggins in, they are still very slightly, you know, if you've got a few across the whole section that are kind of pulling it up and stuff, they're going to be individual sections of like not completely evenness. Does that make sense? I'll show you. Plus obviously the base is like not 100% level in every single spot. So what I'm doing is I'm doing what I call getting my fundamental level, okay? So I started from this side, taking my level, stuck it on, and then I'm leveling, say 1, 2, 3 at a time. So what I'm doing is looking underneath and kind of seeing what kind of the gap is going to be, and then I'll raise it up as needed to. Okay, I'll work those 3, just supporting them just where I need to, just to get that level. And I jump onto the next 3, do the same again, get the fundamental level through. So you can see all these spaces are all here. I mean, these are just to get the level right. They're not really for like support as such. Well, they will do obviously, but they're in space. So kind of you work your way across the whole length, doing that 2, 3 at a time, 2, 3 at a time, just seeing what's going on. So like the one I'm on at the second, if I bring it over here, you can see that these ones I've just done. So the fundamental level is great. It's in contact across all parts of the level. The level is beautiful. You can see that this one over here is obviously not in contact. So when it comes to it, I'll just pull this up a little bit until it then makes nice contact, and then it's job done. So you run along, get your fundamental level through, all the way from that side to that side, and then all I need to do is go through with supports and make sure it's supported across the length every 300, give or take, so that way no matter where you walk on the decking, then it won't have loads of bounce or anything like that in it. With a floating deck, you will have a bit of movement. If you really sort of try to jump on it or whatever, you might notice a bit of movement, but that's how it is. It's not like fixed into the sort of footings. There's loads of different ways of doing decking, but if this was a bit taller, then we could have put like dug supports in and stuff like that, and then built it floating on, like supported every 600 mil with concrete posts and all that kind of stuff. That just wasn't going to work with this one. So this is a completely cool way of doing it as well. So yeah, it's just all these bits and pieces. So I'll run through now. I'll finish off getting that level, and then I'll run through using my packers to then just support it every 300. So theoretically, no matter where you walk, you are then going to have nice support underneath as well. And then of course, any slight undulations or whatever across the whole level, you won't notice, because once the boards are put on, you think these things are like 4 meters long, they're going to sit across it, and then they'll help take out any like bits and pieces as well. So you get it as level as you possibly can at this stage, and then once you kind of get the boards on and then screw those into place, that knits the whole thing together, and then it's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, very excited, because this is the last bit of donkey work, as I call it. All the fundamental prep work, and then it's the pretty part, putting the boards on. So yeah, but when you get to that stage after you've done this amount of prep, you're just happy because you know it's going to be perfect. So yeah, very happy. So I'm going to crack on, level it. I'll get back to you in a minute. Fundamental level done. So there you go. You can see So what I'm using, by the way, to level this stuff is I've got these dual class adjustable legs, which are bloody brilliant. So I've got those. And now in some places, because of like the height difference and stuff, I'm just using either the base of the plate itself, which is perfect, or the base with like some shims, some plastic shims, so I can top that up. And obviously in some areas, I've got enough space so I can actually use the actual adjusters. But literally this whole thing now, running through is level. In fact, I'm just gonna pick a spot at random. I'm over this way, so I'll chuck it down, stay there, and there you go. Absolutely beautiful. So it's basically like that all the way through now. So all I need to do is, like, if you trod on it now, if I trod on this section, fine, because it's got a nice big bit of support there. If I tread over here, not too bad, because actually, well, it's on the deck. But if I come over here, look, you know, you've got flex in there. Now, that's over-exaggerated flex, because the reality is, once I've put the board on, the weight isn't in yet to one pressure point. You haven't got, like, wherever I weigh. Kind of a bit of holiday weight in a second, so that obviously exaggerates it. But of course, once it's across all the boards, you're distributing that weight. But regardless, I'll make sure there is like support underneath all these joints, because you know, underneath all your noggins, that's great if you can get something in, like I've done across a few of these where I've had the ability where it needed to be leveled. So you can see that it's now across all three joints. Beautiful, keeping that in place. So I'll run through and make sure all those points are supported first. And then basically I'll support in between the centre between those two joints as well. So I know no matter where you walk, you've got a nice sound base. So I will go do that in a minute, but I'm waiting for the RAC man to turn up, because I went to start my van yesterday to go home, as one would, to pick up your nipper and stuff like that. And the battery was flat. So I had to walk into town. Luckily, the job I'm on is like 8 minutes walk from Bracknell town centre. So I just walked there, which is the same route I used to walk when I was a kid. So it's quite fun to sort of reminisce about the walks when I was a child. And then realise how long ago that was and get depressed. No. Anyway, RAC man's on his way, so I'll get the battery changed in seconds. I think he's pretty much here. So I'm gonna go, get that sorted, and then come back and finish my levels. Guess what I'm walking on? No, not decking, but I'm walking on a now perfectly levelled off deck frame. So there you go. And I suddenly realised I've majorly over-engineered it again, which again I do like. So you're supposed to have like a bit of support every 500 mil. I've got one about every 300, give or take. So again, well over-engineered, all padded up, lovely jubbly. No bounce, no fuss, no muss. Absolutely gorgeous. Don't know why I'm showing that bit, I should be showing the feet because you can see the bounce. Well, in this case, not see the bounce. But yeah, happy, happy, happy. As he goes arse over tit then, you'd have laughed, I'd laughed, it'd been a giggle. So yeah, so that is now all beautifully levelled. Like I say, levelled across there very nicely, and we have a slight incline that way just to allow for rainwater to run off. We are now good to start putting the deck boards down. It's an exciting day, isn't it? That's what I live for. Right, I'll get prepared, get some bits and pieces out, and then start doing that. But I mentioned I've levelled it all off, and it's, yes, I did. And now I'm on to the fun part. So there you go, there's the start of it. Looking very, 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 very nice. So this stuff, when it comes to, again, like chopping, if you've got to cut around stuff, for example, I had to cut around the waste gutter thingamajobsy there, so that's all cut around. When you got to do it, you're just using standard, like what do you call it, little jigsaw, not the pieces that you put together on a table, but an actual jigsaw with like a wood bit in it. Just make sure it's on a fine cut mode, which basically means it's not like rotating tons and tearing the crap out of it. It's in a very sort of small motion, which gives you a finer cut. With this stuff, with the EnviroBuild gear, basically what happens is they send you out, well, you have to pay for it separately obviously, but these fixings, okay, they're very, very good and very nice. And I find that the best way to do this is essentially, for every joist you got, count them in, I've got 25, so I get the first one. So this is already, I've just trimmed it, so it's the right length from there to the centre of my double joist here. But now you can see how the double joist works. See, look, the overhang, there's nothing there, there's gonna be no bounce on that joint. Get them, is that in there? I should try and do it a bit like that. And then literally 1, 2, and literally just feed them all in, load them all up like a magazine, so all ready to go. And then what happens is you just grab like this and just slide them all down to the sections, and then you get these little special hex screws. They send you out the bit that goes with it, and then just zip them in to the joists. But feeding them through this way is a lot easier than trying to get them in like that, and they keep plopping over. So when you're trying to put this one up against it and push it in, they just keep plopping and fluing in everywhere, and it's basically a massive ball ache. And if there's one thing we don't like, it's ball aches. So this is the way to do it. Feed them all into the first board, and then literally I'll cut the other one for across there, and I'll just slide them up to that end and place them where I need to. Easy peasy. But again, cutting this stuff is a piece of cake. Just chop saw, whatever you got going on. You can hand saw if you wanted to, but you know, a rough cut, so I wouldn't recommend it, but you could if you wanted to. The other thing to mention as well is same for expansion. So you've got 5mm gap there between each joint. They even send you out this lovely little tool for every box of these like bits, which has different measurements and stuff like that. So for this particular, I think it's Pioneer board, it's a 5mm expansion gap between every joint. So that's what you do. So it's going to look beautiful, and you'll see the lines just follow nicely. But yeah, loving it. I'm doing a time lapse as well, so you can see me kind of crack on with it for a bit. But it's my favourite bit. It's what we've been working towards now. So yeah, and also, I don't know if you can see the level, but there you go. All that hard work pays off. Right, I can't come around talking. I've got to crack on, haven't I? I'll be back in a bit. I'm hot and sweaty, but bloody chuffed. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous. It's times like this you really see it all come together. Nice straight lines and all the decking where it's all like matched up between the joints. Loads of support. For a floating deck, it's bloody lovely. So yeah, very, 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 very happy. This is something that the client is going to use and enjoy for flipping donkey's ears. I'm actually quite jealous. I'd love some of this in my house. That's the way it goes, though, isn't it? You do work for people and you go, I like that. I might have that one day. But anyway, that is it. I'm not here tomorrow, finishing off, because it's actually me and Mrs.'s wedding anniversary. 14 years, 20 years together. So I'm going to be down in the Cotswolds. Very nice. I know. It's all right. Probably a couple of cold beers as well. Ooh, nice. If you like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and continue watching. I'll be back on Monday. See you later, guys and gals.